Unit 5, Formative 3, Day 5, Dividing Radicals. So now what we want to do is we want to work on simplifying, but with a radical. So number 1, the square root of 3 over 6. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is simplify the fraction if possible. So we can simplify this to the square root of 1/2. Okay, and then what you do is you break up the square root, so you have the square root of 1 on top and the square root of 2 on the bottom. Okay, now what you do, you cannot leave a radical on the bottom. So to undo that, you're going to times it by itself. So square root of 2 times square root of 2, we'll get rid of it, but in order to make it the same, if you times something on the bottom, you have to do it to the top as well. So on top you have the square root of 1 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 2. On the bottom you have square root of 2 times square root of 2, which is the square root of 4. Well, if you look now at the bottom, you have square root of 2 on top over the square root of 4 is just 2. Okay, and then you would try to simplify if possible, but you can't, so you're done. Number 2, 5 square root of 2 over 2 square root of 15. Okay, right now you're looking in the 5 and the 2, since they're both on the outside of the radical, you could simplify if possible, but you can't. And then the 2 and 15, since they're both on the inside, you could simplify, but you can't. So we need to get rid of the radical on the bottom, and to do that, we're going to times it by itself. So we're going to times it by the square root of 15. I don't care about that 2 there, because I can have a number on the bottom. I just can't have a square root sign. If you do something at the bottom, you got to do it to the top. So on top you have 5 square root of, now 2 times 15 is 30, over, now on the bottom you have 2 times the square root of 225. Okay, and then you're going to want to simplify. So on top we're going to try to make a factor tree. I'm going to put it sideways. You have 3 and 10, 2 and 5. So no pairs, so square root of 30 cannot be simplified. And then the square root of 225 is 15. So you have 5 square root of 30 on top. On the bottom you have 2 times 15. So you have 5 square root of 30 on top, and then you have 30 on the bottom. Now if you look, this 30 right here, okay, cannot be simplified with this 30 because this one's in the square root. But this 5 and 30 can simplify if possible, and since we can simplify that, we can divide top and bottom by 5, so you get the square root of 30 over 6. Okay, so just make sure you're always simplifying. Next one, the square root of 16 over 75 times the square root of 3 over 4. So we're timesing, so we're going to times first. So you get the square root of 16 times 3, which is 48, and 75 times 4, which is 300. And then you look to simplify that if possible, and you figure out what goes into 48 and 300. Well, 4 goes into both. So let's divide top and bottom by 4, so you get 12 over 75. Okay, again, it can still be simplified. You can simplify top and bottom by 3. So if I divide top and bottom by 3, you get 4 over 25. Okay, now you can't simplify anymore, so we break this up. So you have the square root of 4 over the square root of 25. Well, we know the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 25 is 5. So your answer is 2 over 5. Alright. Number 4, the square root of 5 over 7 times the square root of 2 over 3. So we're going to times them together and get the square root of 10 over 21. Well, we can't simplify that, so we break it apart and do the square root of 10 over the square root of 21. Square root of 10, square root of 21, they don't have anything, so what we do is we get rid of the radical on the bottom, so we're going to times it by itself, so it's times by the square root of 21. So on top you get the square root of 210 over the square root of 21 times the square root of 21 is the square root of 441. So on top, let's make a factor tree. So you have 21 and 10, 7 and 3, 2 and 5. Nothing goes into it, so keep it as the square root of 210. On the bottom, the square root of 441 is 21. Okay, since this top part is in the square root sign, this bottom is not, and there's no number out front, there's nothing left to simplify, so that's your answer. Alright, we'll see you tomorrow.